When I started to do research about the movie project, and also I did an online survey in Sweden before I started making my documentary film, I realized that even though it's the most common thing in a woman's life, you get it as a teenager, as a young girl, and you have it for 40 years, maybe longer, that it's so strange that there are still so many taboos and questions about the physical physical female bodies that people don't know. So that's why I think it's an issue about human rights, because it has to do with in the countries where, like in Sweden or Scandinavia or the Western countries, there's a lot of commercial aspects. You can buy tampons, sanitary pads, moon cups, and so on. So it has an economical aspect also about what products you buy and how it affects the bodies. There's an economical aspect of it, and in other countries you don't even have the opportunities to buy good products. Like there are many countries, African countries, Asian countries, maybe even Latino American countries, where there's so much taboos and issues about that you cannot even show that you have menstruation.
The shame of menstruation, which I would say exists everywhere, when that shame is combined with poverty and a lack of information, lack of access to information, I want to show what happens, how that becomes then a barrier to accessing human rights. I believe that this is an issue that's really hard to prove the seriousness and the actual consequences when you don't have access to menstrual protection or water, privacy, toilets, and all the things you would need to handle menstruation, which means that you cannot take part in public life and you're pushed back into your home or like a private area, a classical way to divide the world by gender.
I think the people who have seen my movies so far, they have been very positive. So I have gotten very positive response to the movies. And people maybe who were not expecting to see the movie, especially men, they have also been very happy and positive to see it, because they say to me, no one discussed this with them. It's also a hidden issue, because if women don't talk to their husbands or their boyfriends or their brothers or their relatives who are male, how will they know?
It has to be done at like two levels. One thing is that you really have to talk about menstruation to get rid of the shame and the taboo. Because right now it's not even possible to talk about it in like a political setting among people in power, among politicians, because it's hard to even use the word. And it's so taboo to talk about it. So this has to change, so we all have to move forward, and I think that everyone can take that responsibility in wherever you are, low-income countries or high-income countries, everywhere. We have to together try to push that boundary.
Some people may react to the fact that I use graphic images. I show blood and I show all of these things because this is what it's about. The blood is pure, it's from inside. That's what I say in my movie. How can it be dirty? How can it be unclean? It's any blood. If you cut yourself, the blood is fresh. That blood is maybe a bit older. It's maybe like 1 day or 2 days older, and it's very little quantity. But you don't show it because you're like, oh, it's dirty. It's not dirty. Fresh blood is always fresh. And I was saying, like in action movies or violent movies, you see all this splatter blood, and it's blood from the whole body. But as soon as there's blood coming from somewhere inside, you'd say it has to do with the gender or something, then it's an issue. It's really strange. For me, it's a discrimination.
I've been traveling so far to Uganda, and I will go to Kenya next week. Then I'll go to India and Bangladesh. India and Kenya, those countries are countries where this issue actually has been discussed for a while. So there is some experience, there has been some studies done, which makes these countries really interesting.
We need to have, good products which are environmental friendly, which will not cost too much. So even people who do not have any money or very little money can afford to buy a hygienic product and do not get sick or do not get other problems with their bodies related to menstruation.